She was born in silence, expected to obey. But Wu Zetian did not stay silent. She rose, not to support a man, but to seize the dragon throne herself. The only woman to ever rule China as emperor. How did she do it? And why did history fear her so much? In the Valley of the Kings stands a tall, weathered stele. It marks her resting place, yet it says nothing. No name, no titles, just stone. As if even in death, Wu Zetian's story could not be captured in words. Or perhaps no one dared to define her legacy. At age 13, Wu entered the palace as a low-ranking concubine. Just one girl among hundreds, meant to please the emperor and disappear. But unlike the others, she observed, listened, and waited. Behind innocent eyes burned ambition. She knew the rules, but she also knew how to break them. Emperor Taizong had over 100 concubines, but Wu Zetian stood out. Her charm was effortless, her conversation clever. The emperor began inviting her more often. Whispers grew in the court. This girl wasn't just beautiful, she was dangerous. Even in her teens, she was playing a long, bold game. Emperor Taizong had over 100 concubines, but Wu Zetian stood out. Her charm was effortless, her conversation clever. The emperor began inviting her more often. Whispers grew in the court. This girl wasn't just beautiful, she was dangerous. Even in her teens, she was playing a long, bold game. When the emperor died, Wu was sent to a convent, a common fate for concubines. But she would not remain forgotten. She returned to court under his son, Gaozong. This time, not as a girl, but as a woman who knew the palace, its players, and its weaknesses. Wu became Gaozong's favorite. But she wanted more than affection. She wanted the crown. When the reigning empress fell from favor, Wu filled the void. She outmaneuvered rivals with calm ruthlessness. In 655, Gaozong made her empress. But even then, few realized. Wu was already ruling behind the curtain. When Gaozong died, Wu did the unthinkable. She claimed the throne herself, not as a regent, not behind a son, but as emperor. No woman had dared such a move. Ministers objected, Confucians raged. But Wu had already outlasted them all. She didn't ask permission, she took command. To secure her reign, Wu crushed dissent. Some say she framed the previous empress by murdering her own daughter. Others say she executed rivals with unspeakable cruelty. History remembers her as ruthless. But were these stories truth, or the fears of men facing a powerful woman? Wu's own son, Li Xian, was seen as a threat. Some say he plotted rebellion. Others believe he was merely too independent. Wu exiled him, then ordered his forced suicide. The people whispered, a mother who killed her son. But to Wu, the empire came first, family second. Despite the blood, Wu transformed China. She opened government exams to commoners, allowing talent, not lineage, to rise. Women gained new freedoms. Her reforms were bold, unpopular with the elite, but beloved by many. She wasn't just ruling, she was rebuilding the very foundation of who deserved power in China. Chang'an, Wu's capital, became one of the greatest cities in the world. With over 1 million residents, it was filled with poets, traders, musicians, and diplomats. Wu welcomed foreign merchants and envoys, turning her empire into a vibrant, cosmopolitan powerhouse that rivaled Rome and Constantinople. Under Wu Zetian, Chinese silk became the crown jewel of international trade. From India to Persia, foreign traders came for it. Her empire prospered, not just from war or tax, but from craftsmanship, diplomacy, and vision. The Silk Road thrived, and her name reached distant shores. Wu Zetian uplifted women like no ruler before her. She allowed women to manage businesses, inherit wealth, and even divorce freely. She appointed the first female prime minister in Chinese history. For one brief moment, it seemed like women could shape the empire's future too. Archaeologists later discovered the legendary Phoenix crown. Crafted with gold, pearls, and mother of pearl, it was worn by a noblewoman in Wu's time. But its foreign gems, amber from Iran, garnet from India, proved Wu's empire wasn't isolated. It was global, wealthy, and irresistibly glamorous. Wu's tomb was massive, yet her epitaph was left blank. No titles, no name. Some say it was her order, letting history judge her. Others say her enemies tried to erase her. Either way, her silence speaks louder than stone. Her legend, impossible to summarize in words. Wu ordered the construction of a grand new palace, the Ming Palace, outside the city walls. It was 5 times larger than the Forbidden City. Polo grounds, theaters, and gardens stretched for miles. It wasn't just a home, it was a statement that she ruled above all tradition and expectation. Wu embraced Buddhism not just for faith, but for power. She funded temples, built towering pagodas, and presented herself as the divine protector of Dharma. For the common people, she was a spiritual leader. For the elite, she blurred the lines between throne and temple. In Luoyang, she built one of the tallest brick pagodas in the world. After an earthquake destroyed its top, archaeologists calculated it once stood 300 feet tall. It wasn't just architecture, it was her legacy reaching to the heavens, a symbol of ambition carved into skyline and stone. In Longmen's sacred Buddhist caves, legend says one statue bears Wu's face. She commissioned it to fuse religion with rule, to show that the divine, feminine, and imperial authority could be one. Her face, immortalized in stone, watched over pilgrims for centuries to come. Wu knew that power required more than thrones and temples. It needed rice. She built vast granaries and canals to move grain across provinces. These reserves protected China during droughts and famine. It was logistics, not magic, that kept her people loyal and her empire strong. Wu broke tradition by inviting commoners into government. She expanded the imperial exams, allowing poor but talented citizens to serve in court. This move angered the nobility, but it earned her loyalty from the people. Merit, not birth, became a new path to power under her rule. In a move without precedent, Wu appointed a female prime minister, Shangguan Wanner, a brilliant poet and strategist. Together, they governed with precision. But centuries later, Shangguan's tomb was found destroyed, erased by history, as if the world couldn't bear the memory of 2 powerful women ruling side by side. After Wu's death, Confucian historians rewrote her story. They painted her as a monster, erasing her reforms and demonizing her ambition. Her statues vanished, her achievements buried. History, written by the men she defied, turned her from emperor to villain. Late in life, Wu had a golden tablet cast. On it, a simple prayer, to be forgiven for her sins. She had ruled with fire and fear, but now she faced eternity. The tablet buried on a sacred mountain was her final act of humility. At age 80, Wu Zetian stepped down, not by force but by choice. She returned to her palace, guarded, still respected. She died peacefully, surrounded by silence and shadows. No ceremony, no farewell, just the quiet end of a woman who once shook the world. Wu Zetian's tomb stands among emperors, but her stele is blank. No titles, no legacy written in stone. Some say she chose it, knowing no words could define her. Others say it was punishment, but the silence speaks volumes. She wrote history with actions, not inscriptions. Wu wasn't just the first female emperor, she was the only one. She ruled with wisdom, cruelty, vision, and control. She redefined leadership on her own terms. She wasn't perfect, but no man could match her journey. She was, and still is, China's greatest political anomaly. Much of Wu's world has crumbled. Temples faded, names erased. But in hidden valleys, flowers still bloom where her temples once stood. Her legacy, like her tomb, defies easy judgment. Tyrant or reformer, demon or mother, her story lives on, not in labels, but in the echoes she left behind. For centuries, historians feared Wu because she broke the order. She ruled when women weren't supposed to speak. She rewrote not just China, but what a woman could be. Her story was nearly lost, but silence cannot erase a voice that once shook an empire. Wu Zetian teaches us this: power isn't given, it's seized, built, and defended, especially when the world says no. She was flawed, fierce, and unforgettable, and in every leader who dares to rise from nothing, her spirit lives on. History buried her, but we must remember her. Beneath the armor of power, Wu was still a woman who had loved, lost, and feared. Letters found centuries later reveal tenderness for children, for monks, even for rivals. Power may have hardened her, but it did not erase her soul. She ruled, but she also felt deeply. Wu's influence crossed borders. Japanese and Korean scholars admired her reforms and sent envoys to learn from Tang China. While Chinese historians buried her memory, neighboring nations studied her model. Her leadership left an imprint far beyond her tomb, shaping Asia's future in law, religion, and diplomacy. For 1,000 years, Wu's name was whispered, rarely taught. In some dynasties, her deeds were censored entirely. But today, historians are restoring her voice. In classrooms, films, and books, her story returns not as propaganda, but as truth, complex and human. The silence is finally breaking. Modern dramas depict Wu as seductive, vengeful, or even magical. But the real Wu was more: a strategist, administrator, visionary. Fiction entertains, reality inspires. Her true strength wasn't beauty, it was unshakable will and unmatched intelligence in a time when neither were allowed for women. Was Wu Zetian a tyrant, a feminist icon, a ruthless survivor? The truth, like most great figures, lies somewhere in between. But one fact is certain: she ruled a world built to destroy her. And she didn't just survive, she conquered. The question is, what would you have done? Today in China, Wu Zetian is controversial, but no longer ignored. Her image appears in documentaries, novels, and even state museums. Some hail her as a symbol of strength. Others still whisper about her cruelty. Either way, her ghost walks silently through every corridor of Chinese political history. Like Cleopatra of Egypt or Elizabeth I of England, Wu ruled in a world of men and outlasted them. But unlike them, she rose from nothing. No royal blood, no throne by birth, just wit, will, and relentless courage. Her rise was not given, it was taken. The official records are filled with suspicion and disdain. But Wu's real legacy may live in the people who prospered under her, the women who studied, the poor who rose, the monks who were heard. Her greatest impact was never written, it was lived. Time is the greatest historian. It strips away flattery and slander, leaving only consequence. Wu's reign changed China, economically, spiritually, and politically. You may not like how she rose, but you cannot deny the mountain she became. Her rule still casts a shadow across centuries. She ruled. She rewrote the rules. She vanished into silence. But maybe, just maybe, Wu Zetian didn't need to be remembered in stone or ink. She needed to be remembered in thought. Every time a voice defies silence, every time power rises from the ground, her whisper lives again.